What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Dairyland Drive podcast. Collin and Mike. Shocker, Riley having some internet issues, so we don't know. He might join us at some point during this episode, but we're going to chug along without him. I've got a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of switch it up a little bit for this episode. Usually we start off with Packers talk, but I think March Madness, which I believe I saw something like it was like the highest ratings in either ever or most watched ever. I can't remember what it was specifically.
First round, I think, highest ever.
Yeah, a lot of good games.
Vintage.
A lot of good games. So we got to talk about them. Of course, I know one of those good games was the wrong side for Badgers fans. I know you have to just bear with us for a little bit to break that down, and then we'll get to some Packers. But we'll still talk some position grades. But we'll start on the defense. We're gonna do some DBs. That's gonna be part of 3 and out. But let's start with the opening drive. March Madness. It delivered, I think, from day one. I know day 2, that Friday, it was like the first time since 1992 that a double-digit seed didn't win in the first round. So I know a lot of people were, well, let's see what happens. They did it. 9 seed was the biggest upset that day. It was very chalky.
That day specifically.
For Friday, just that day specifically.
Sure.
But I think it just set up some really good freaking matchups in the second round that we can get to a little bit. But first round, Mike, them damn Badgers. I hate to say that I'm surprised, but that's kind of like what this team has been. They kind of play to their competition in a sense. They're really, really good. It seems like against, those top tier teams where they'll rise to that level, but not take away anything from High Point. Like High Point score. They had some dudes that could get buckets. What was the white dude's name that was just hitting from everywhere there to the end of the game? But from my perspective, it was entertaining. I actually picked Wisconsin to win that game in my bracket, so I was a little surprised. I thought it was crazy. Riley said that they were going to win by 20. I didn't know if I bought that much, but I thought that they would win the game. But it was a fantastic game. But I guess from your perspective, I'm sure frustration. I know you got to Green Bay and took a shot instantly because you were listening to it in your car. So we kind of know what you were feeling. But now that it's kind of sat and resonated here for a few days, you're still feeling the same?
Yeah, I mean, I made my peace with it just about like when I got to Green Bay, probably an hour after that game ended or so, and I took that shot of whiskey, get ready for the Hardy concert that night. But I mean, we talked about this for the last couple months. This is a team that could get to the second weekend or they could bow out in the first round. And lo and behold, first round exit it is once again. So not totally surprising. This team, since they decided to go with a little more up-tempo offense, the defense has kind of lagged behind a little bit. A staple of that program for 20 years or more. That seems to be a little bit of a secondary priority these days, which is fine and all if you can outscore your opponent regularly. But when you run into a team of flamethrowers like BYU last year or High Point this year, if you can't get a couple stops in clutch time, like it's gonna come back and burn you. And that's what happened. I think I don't think Guard's been to the second weekend since I want to say his first full year as coach when he took the Bronson Koenig team to the Sweet 16, that buzzer beater against Xavier, I believe. So that's been a little frustrating overall, but I haven't really seen a lot of chatter like in years past about like Guard needs to go or anything like that. I don't think he does. I think he's done like a pretty good job overall of adjusting his system to a modern day culture of college basketball.
Big adjustments, yeah.
Modern day player, I think he's done really well in the transfer portal. I don't know what their NIL situation is like, but I mean, it can't be too bad if they're successfully churning out new players from transfer portal every year. It'll be interesting to see what Blackwell does after this year. I think he's kind of the big piece. You're signaling the money sign. Yeah, is he going to get paid from Wisconsin or is he going to get paid somewhere else?
They're going to have to divvy up and pay him.
That's kind of the big question right now. But yeah, I mean, totally frustrating. I mean, didn't they have a double digit lead with like 5 minutes or so?
It was creeping up there. They had every opportunity to put him away, but they just couldn't
Yeah.
put him away, it seemed like.
And then the guy that hadn't even like shot a 2 point shot all year is the one that gets the breakaway basket. And yeah, just frustrating, man. But yeah,
First off, first off, the best medicine for a first round exit is certainly bourbon and then a Hardy concert.
oh,
Like
man,
that's how you quickly
it's
overcome
smiling
that.
unreal.
That's how you quickly overcome it. But I think this is an interesting like question too, and just kind of curious. Like, what do you as a fan specifically for basketball? What do you like categorize as a good season? 20 plus wins, makes it to the NCAA tournament. Do you care as much like what happens in the NCAA tournament to like categorize it as like a failed season or a good season, or like where do you sit on that? Like I know a lot of these like blue bloods are they're so used to getting to the second week and like shit like
Yeah.
Houston's been to what, how many Sweet 16s and Final Fours in the last like recent years. So I know like some programs like it's Final Four, the year sucks. Like this is a failed year. Where is like a Wisconsin year now with guard? And you kind of mentioned like he really hasn't gotten that monkey off his back since his first season of getting that second weekend. But is it a failed season or is it still like a successful season, like in your eyes?
Um, I don't know if I really look at it in either way, to be honest with you. Like, I think, certainly finishing in the top third of the Big Ten is something that shouldn't go unnoticed.
It's a tough
And doing that
conference.
pretty regularly. I know there's been a couple seasons where they've been like 500 or so, but those are more anomalies, I think, than regularities. I don't know, man. The NCAA tournament can be such a crapshoot. Like, it depends on like the healthier player. Like Nolan Winter, he's one of their top three players. He was injured coming into the tournament, didn't play at all in the Big Ten tournament. How much did that factor into this game? I think having a 10:50 Western time start is freaking stupid. Like,
Love to send him there.
what? Yeah, I don't know what the committees seem to have against Wisconsin, or if this is just like some random pattern that seems to be emerging the last couple of years. So, I mean, travel when you're playing, that could factor in. It's not an excuse, but it could be a factor. I don't know. A lot of people said, for 15 years that Bo Ryan couldn't lead a team to a big win. I mean, for 15 years that was true, but then 2 straight years he went to the Final Four and then came pretty damn close to winning a national championship. So, I don't know. I don't pay close enough attention to basketball for the first like 4 months of it to decisively say it was a failed season or a successful season. If from a very casual fan like myself, I would say it's a pretty good season overall. Like 25 wins or whatever they had, that's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
It's
it's a good point.
fortunate ending.
Yeah. And I think again, Guard's a good coach, and
Mhm.
winning in the Big Ten is tough. Like this tournament, I think, has even showed you like of all the success the Big Ten has had, and all the teams now into the Sweet 16. But it's a freaking grind, man. And like some of the wins that they were able to have on the road, that's tough to do. Like big time, like top
Yeah.
10. I think that like the brand, like you mentioned, it's like fun and modern now. So I think they're gonna keep getting dudes every single year. Like maybe they're not gonna be the top tier, highest paid dudes that are maybe going to the Dukes and whatever the Carolinas, the Kansas is, but he's gonna put together a good team. It seems like every year. And you mentioned like the tournament, it's all about matchups.
Yeah,
It's all about matchups
totally.
and get lucky. Like look at Penn, great matchup for them, and then freaking VCU takes down North Carolina, and I thought they matched up good with them too. So like a 14 and 11 to get to the Sweet 16. That's it's what it literally is all about. The chips kind of falling where they do, but I want to talk about the Big Ten because typically Big Ten struggles in the tournament, at least like recent years, but this year, it really kind of feels like momentum is building. Like, holy shit, could this be the actual year that um, a Big Ten team finally crosses the finish line, finally wins it? I'm kind of coming to grips of I hate Michigan. I just hate everything about Michigan. I like Dusty May a lot, but I just hate Michigan, especially like Morez Johnson leaving Illinois to go to Michigan and just like all the wealth of riches that they have there in the depth. But now I'm like starting to debate like with how Purdue's playing right now and like looking like Purdue ranked number one preseason, all the expectations. It's like shit. Would I rather have Michigan like win it instead of Purdue for the Big Ten with that group?
God.
I think so. I just hate that group. Like Braden Smith is a stud, but I want him to leave. Fletcher Lawyer, see
Yeah.
you later. Trey Kaufman Red, what an asshole. Like, get out of here. Like, I am ready. I'm ready for that core. And they got such a good draw. Like they probably have the
Yeah.
most straightforward path to a Final Four just with how it's kind of all played out. But well, I guess we'll see. Of course, nothing is a given that we've seen here. But Michigan State, Purdue, Illinois, Michigan. Then you got maybe my biggest pet peeve that I still cannot believe I'm saying it. Iowa and Nebraska are playing in a
Mm.
Sweet 16. Iowa or Nebraska will make it to the Elite Eight.
Isn't that nuts?
And they're going to buy 90% of the tickets down in Houston because they're in the same one with Illinois and Houston. And I've always heard, I know that's the big gripe this week is, oh, it's a home game for Houston. Like I've read some forums and stuff and people are like, Houston doesn't really like support their team maybe as well as some of these other like colleges and programs just because I think they're so used to being so good. And like,
N-
you also have to think it's not like a legit Houston home game. It's like equivalent to like, if maybe I don't know, Illinois would play in Chicago or I don't know, one of the Indianapolis or Indiana teams were outside playing in Indianapolis. I think it's like 45 minutes or an hour from the campus. So yes, it is close, but it's not like
Really?
on their campus and a true home game. Yeah. So, and I'll tell you this right now. Like, did you see the Nebraska game in round two against Vanderbilt?
Uh, no, I didn't.
That was 90% Nebraska fans. That was a Nebraska home game, and that was not even in the state of Nebraska.
Oklahoma, I think.
They're going to travel well. They're going to buy out so many tickets. Iowa fans are going to travel well. Illinois fans travel well. So just imagine Houston is in like the Big Ten, whatever, Big Ten
Yeah.
invitational to get to the Final Four there. Kind of crazy.
I mean, I've read a couple places that, Nebraska, they're like the most diehard fan base.
What else is there to do there? What else
Yeah.
is there to do in Nebraska?
I mean, you never would have thought that about the basketball team. I understand for the football team, but yeah, Houston could get crazy.
It's gonna get crazy. I don't know what kind of fans for Nebraska and Iowa are gonna be there, but Houston's going to the city and area of Houston's gonna probably have an eye-opening experience this weekend. It's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, I wanna I guess just any other games that you want to touch on before I want to kind of get to some of these next round Sweet 16 games. Obviously the huge upset, Riley's team, he's not here to back it up or
Florida.
Florida going down. I don't know if anyone saw that coming. And
I
let's
certainly
be
didn't.
honest, like Iowa was just tougher. They were just the tougher team, and I don't want to say like the cliche they wanted it more, but they kind of did. I mean they just never went away. They threw the first punch in the first half, and they just basically kept punching. That was also like a Bennett Sturts not great game too. So don't get me wrong. Iowa can freaking beat Nebraska. They already have this year. Do not be shocked if Iowa beats Nebraska because I think they match up with them fairly well. And it is insanity to say Iowa could be an Elite Eight team. Like I just
Right.
can't get over that too. But that's the big one. And then your North Carolina, we got to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
They get ousted in the first round and lose their head coach too, which I'm sure is going to be the prize opening for whoever that they can get to step in and fill in for Hubert Davis. But
Give me
um,
Dusty May, baby.
you think he'd leave?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
want him to, though.
So I've seen,
Two benefits. He's a really good coach,
yeah,
and he goes to North Carolina. Two, he's out of the Big Ten.
yeah, it's true. Yeah,
But
ACT
that game, like 19-point lead, and you blow it, of course
crazy.
you're going to get fired.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I don't know, like I would have to imagine. I don't know what their roster costs, and obviously they didn't have their best player, who is going to be like a top 5 pick out for the season. But whoever fills that role, like you're going to have like an embarrassment of riches, I think, NIL and get pretty back on top. I know what a name I've seen that I think could be very interesting, and if he would even be interested, but there's been rumors that he's wanted to go back to college from the NBA. Is Billy Donovan, and be intrigued to kind of see NC or even Kansas. I've heard read some things about Bill Self and kind of his health. Obviously, he had to step away, and he's obviously getting up there. What else does he have to prove?
Yeah.
Could be two gigantic openings for teams that didn't make it to the second weekend. But yeah, I don't know. ACC just continues to struggle. It seems like they're kind of there with the Big Ten and the NCAA tournament. It seems like.
Yeah. Um, Before we move on really quickly, out of the Big Ten teams in Sweet 16, who do you think's the most vulnerable to go down in Sweet 16?
Oh, definitely Illinois. Definitely Illinois, because that is a freaking high level. That's gonna be a very good match. Like it's a very good matchup for both teams, but like Houston's freaking good. Like they are very physical. They got some athletes, and this isn't like your typical they can't score Houston team. Like they got one of the best freshmen in the country in Kingston Flemings. They got another lottery pick. They got some veteran guards. So yeah, I don't know. Illinois is gonna have to like. I think they're gonna have to hit like 12 to 15 threes. They're gonna have to be tough on the boards. Otherwise, that could be one that gets away from them. But like yeah, Michigan, Bama. I just don't know if Bama has enough to stick with Michigan. They're gonna have to like get to the hundreds and play like a very high scoring, fast paced game. Yeah, Michigan State, UConn could be really interesting as well, but they're playing very well. Yeah, I don't know.
I would love to see Texas take down Purdue.
Would love to see it. Don't know if it'll happen. Because I don't know who would be the Elite Eight matchup for Purdue. Would that
Arizona
be
or
Arizona? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if they're getting past either of those
I
teams.
don't I don't think so either. Which I picked Arizona to win it all, which we'll get
Same
to.
here.
I'm a little nervous about the matchup with Arkansas, with what they're playing right now and what they're getting from their freshmen offensively. But I would say that question, like Illinois, I think has probably got the like toughest matchup and probably the most vulnerable out of like all those Big Ten teams, which I hate to say, but I think it's true. But
Keaton Locklear, let's go.
they deserve it. I mean, hey, they just played a 14 and 11, so you can't have a double digit path to the Final Four. You gotta actually play some good teams at some point. So,
Yep.
um, which hey, I will give this to Illinois. It's not like the games have been close. They freaking won by 35 and 20 plus. So they've done exactly what they've needed to do. But now you got to prove it because let's not forget this is the same Illinois team that went 0 and 5 to end the season against I think like top 15 like Ken Palm teams or whatever it is, or top 25 Ken Palm teams. So all the teams that they've beat are very average to below average teams, and they've really struggled against those top tier teams. So can they figure it out and turn it around? We'll see. We'll see. I think
Are Iowa or Nebraska gonna come out of that bracket?
don't like never say never. I have Houston coming out of that bracket. Like even with if Florida would advance, I thought Houston would beat Florida, but yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. I think that's like a flip of the coin, Iowa, Nebraska right now. Like I honestly think they're pretty evenly matched with like how Iowa's playing, and like Nebraska is very good defensively, but like it's weird to say Iowa's good defensively too. When Ben McCollum came over, so yeah, that might literally be like the first to like freaking 60. Who wins that tough matchup, and then yeah, we'll see Illinois Houston what that sits like, but um yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be. I think there's a lot of good games, like we mentioned. Um, a lot of freshman led teams. Like this is such a great year for freshmen. In terms
Yeah.
of the one and duns that are gonna go in the draft. Like you look at a lot of these like top tier teams, they're led by freshmen, and they're playing at a very high level. And Yeah, it's kind of like one of those, I don't wanna say like generational drafts, but it's a pretty special draft, I think, that a lot of teams are gonna get a lot of good players this year. So, all right, any closing thoughts before we kind of move on? You still feel good about Arizona? I know we
Fire
touched on
down,
the
baby. Let's
matchup.
go. Come on.
Quite a few people in our bracket picked Arizona, so they're in the same, like I was like a lot of Arizona, Duke, and Michigan. The ones that didn't are now out. I think it's pretty much all those three teams that are left, which we can obviously get to in a little bit on the final drive.
We got eight of them. 8 out of the 17 picked Arizona.
There you go. 8 out of the 17. So yeah, we'll talk about how we're doing in the old bracket here in the final drive towards the end. But yeah, March Madness, Illinois. My last gripe: Illinois has made two Sweet 16s now under Brad Underwood in the Brad Underwood era, and both Sweet 16 games were past 9 o'clock on a Thursday night. I am livid about it. Tomorrow's game, it's like a 9:10 tip-off time, which we know it's not going to start at whatever. It's going to start about 10, 15 minutes later on that. So there's a good chance that Illinois will probably be starting at 9:30 tomorrow night, which
Central time?
Central Time, which just
Oh, brother.
makes me very upset. I'll just say that. So, um, yeah, I don't know. You could argue
Yeah,
that
that
it's
is.
one of the better matchups of the Sweet 16. Why put them in a freaking 9 o'clock window? It doesn't make any sense to me. But I know it'd be
If
like
it was on
eight
the
o'clock.
West Coast, I could understand. Like, I don't understand the timing of these games.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. What are we to say, I guess? All right. That's college basketball talk. Yeah, going to be exciting 4 days here ahead to see who is in the final four. But let's now shift to the Packers because we like to talk about the Packers every single episode. So for this week's three and out, we're going to continue our positional grades and we're going to restart on the defensive side in the secondary. That is going to include both the safeties and the corners. We are going to mostly give a player by player grade, but we're going to switch it up a little bit, do our highest, our lowest, and then we'll do everyone else, and then we'll do the overall grade at the end. But for first down, if you look at, in your opinion, Mike, for the defensive backs from that safety group, from that corner group, who do you think had the best season and deserves Mike Schneider's highest grade, the honor to get the highest grade from the defensive backs from 2025? Who would you look at?
I'd probably have to go with Xavier McKinney. He didn't have nearly the production in terms of interceptions as he did in 2024. He had what, two or three only this year.
Yeah,
Dropped
a lot.
several others, but I mean his besides that, his role is kind of protecting the deep part of the field, right? And we didn't really see a lot of uh deep plays getting by him this year. So to me, it tells me for the most part he's doing his job as intended. Um, so with that being said, I because of the missed interceptions, the drops, the lack of big swing plays, I'm gonna give him probably like a B plus or a B. Still a good season, best out of the bunch in my opinion. Just not quite up to his all pro form that he had in 2024. Hopefully he can bounce back in 26 and turn it around a little bit more.
Yeah. I think it's like it's tough not to say that like the three highest grades are probably going to be the safeties, right? Just with like the struggles from the cornerback room. I think that's going to be like a consistent thing. I kind of had a tough time between like, and I'm counting Javon Bullard as a safety. I know he like
Okay.
really played nickel. I had a tough time because I think they all three played well and each had their moments like throughout the season. Like, yeah, you mentioned in terms of like if you compared 2024 to 2025, Xavier McKinney like stats popping wise as good. No, but he didn't get talked about a lot either, which is usually a good thing for a defensive back because they're not throwing his way or not throwing over the middle. And I don't think teams really do that against the Packers because he sits back there. And you also mentioned dude drops like how many interceptions? Like multiple games. He had multiple
Yeah.
drops of picks where he was in the right spot. So he was that's why they're DBs, I guess, and not wide receivers. But if he had better
Future
hands,
hands.
he probably would have had close to the same number of interceptions. Evan Williams, I thought was like freaking awesome when he was healthy. And I think like what he provides in the box and how good of a tackler he is, like he's just like one of those like dudes you can just rely on every single game. Does he have his holes in coverage at times and maybe a lack of speed? Yes, but he's got very good instincts. But in my opinion, my highest graded player is going to be Javon Bullard just because like this was a team that like signed Nate Hobbs. And yes, I know Nate Hobbs had injuries and they originally planned on Nate Hobbs to be an outside corner, but Javon Bullard pretty much made people forget how good Nate Hobbs was inside. Like there was just no shot he was ever giving that up because he was playing at such a high level. Just like what he was able to match up with in terms of, you know, the run game and what he provided up there with like physicality. Like he was a great tackler. I don't know exactly. I think he had like 80 plus tackles. Um, I'm like looking like quick stats right now. He ranked 11th in passer rating against as I don't know if that's as a safety or corner. Um, I think he was all over the field. He was all over the field. He just is so steady and he's so like multi-dimensional there. And like the step that he took from year one to year two just like makes me even more excited. And let's be like honest, we haven't had great luck or great history with some of these Georgia dudes. Like I know they excel in college and they seem to come to the Packers and
Certainly not in Green Bay.
take a step back,
Our
but
Georgia players.
hopefully he's maybe the exception you know it's kind of crazy too because he wasn't good enough to play you know in the back ends just with how Evan Williams has emerged, but I think he's found a perfect home there in the slot. And I think if he takes another step, I think he's going to be one of the best kind of slot corners in like that nickel corner safety, whatever you want to call him, in the league next year. And I think he played at like an A minus level for all of the season. So I'm going to say Javon Bullard was my highest rated player, but I'm going to throw these in here really quick too because I already talked about them. X and Williams were right behind him. I think they were both
Mhm.
B plus players, so like they weren't too far off. I think the safety group as a whole was awesome. Like I said, it was tough, but
Yeah.
to me, I think Javon Bullard was just maybe a little bit better and a little bit bigger impact in my opinion.
Safety group was probably the best group
It's hard to
on
argue.
defense.
Yeah. Oh, 100% on defense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I give those grades, where did you have both Williams and Bullard on your list? Because I'm
I had
guessing they're
them
towards
like
your end.
yeah, they're like B players for me, right
Okay.
behind X.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's the positive. That's why we did it for first down. I had a feeling that the safeties were going to be on the higher end. So why don't we go to second down? And again, you could, in reality, yes, you could include Nate Hobbs in there or maybe some of these other guys, but we're just going to kind of erase that from our minds. We're just going to give him like an incomplete slash F just because he just didn't stay healthy, whatever. So let's go with the three main guys that did play corner because I'm going to guess one of them is going to be your lowest graded player, unless all three of them are your lowest
Which
graded
one do you
player.
think it'll be?
Which one do I
Which
think
three
it
are you
was me?
going with? Because you counted Bullard as a safety, so I had
Oh, two. Yeah.
Valentine and Nixon.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
I
Nope.
mean,
You're right.
I kind of
Would be
counted
two.
Bullard. I kind of
Okay.
counted Bullard as a nickel corner.
Yeah. Maybe in my head I was still
He's not the lowest graded corner too.
no.
We know
Right.
that.
Right. 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 I think in my head I was still thinking Hobbs, but we're throwing him out. So now we're down to
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
Okay. Who do I think is going to be your lowest? I think your lowest is going to
Take
be
a wild
Keisha.
guess.
I think it's gonna be Keyshawn Nixon.
Really?
Yeah. Is it gonna be Valentine?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll be
Interesting.
interested. Okay. I'll be interested to. I'm guessing you're gonna go with Nixon lower graded.
No. I'm on Valentine as well. I just knew you at some point in the season were giving him a little bit more props than Nixon just for being in the right place at the right time, like maybe more like instinctual, but like obviously it didn't really
Yeah.
matter. But
Yeah.
I don't think there's a wrong answer because I thought they both played pretty poorly throughout. But
Uh, yeah. I mean, as I've kind of like had time to reflect on the season a little bit, like the fact that he was like in position to make those plays, like sure there's something to be said about that, I guess, but it ultimately doesn't matter if you don't finish the play. If you don't make the pass breakup or interception, if you're missing wide open tackles that are super easy, if you're getting uh little Boyd and just stiff arm to hell like through the ground, that's such a bad look. I mean, they they tried benching him. I think was it the Ravens game,
Yeah.
and they were so depleted. They're like, okay, you have to go back in. So I mean, yeah, I mean, there were times where he put himself in position, but I mean, ultimately, like he didn't really make any plays. So to me, like he's barely above an F. Like he's getting a D minus. Nixon, I put at like a C, but we can get into that a little bit later. But yeah, Valentine for sure is the lower grade out of those two for me.
When Micah was playing, who do you think was the better corner when we were getting consistent, like at least from Micah, at least getting consistent pressure from Micah and at times the other guys? Who do you think was better? Because that's honestly when it dropped off a cliff, right?
Oh
When it
yeah,
got exposed big time when
yeah.
we didn't get that pressure and they truly relied on them in their coverage.
Honestly, I still feel like he was Keyshawn.
Yeah,
I still feel like he was better.
yeah,
Maybe not
he,
more consistently because he had such up and down games. Like that second game, I think against the Commanders, he had like 5 breakups, and then I think the next week he got like torched.
yeah.
You never knew which version you were gonna get on a week to week basis. And as Micah left, like then you really knew what you're gonna get.
Yeah. And I'm trying to like I'm reading through this like article really quick right now of like he actually exceeded his career high in like passes defended. He had like 17 like deflections
Keyshawn.
compared to 10, which is like his previous career high. So like when he was in the right spot, he at least like batted the ball down or made a play.
Um,
But we're
how many of
yet.
those came before
Yeah, I know.
before Micah got hurt?
I know. I need to find that as well
I think
too.
5 of them came in one game and
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I don't know the exact math of it. Almost one third, a little less than one third.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you look at Carrington Valentine, and he obviously had 0 regular season interceptions, and then he only had 4 passes defended. So 4 compared to 17, quite a big drop off there. Yeah, trying to look, they're honestly pretty close to some of like the other like coverage and like completion percentage against like all like the big PFF stats. But like yeah, just eye test. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I have them pretty close. I see. I don't know. I'm not like all the way down to a D with both of them. I'm probably like honestly a C minus for both of them because I think you just like look at expectation wise too. They were probably both put in positions that they shouldn't be put at, like on a winning team or a team that has aspirations to win a Super Bowl. Like neither of them should like ever cover top guys. They should always be on the other side of like a shutdown corner. Um, Again, nothing they can do about that, but that was what the Packers decided to do, and that was what the defense was running with them. But yeah, none of them really stood out. None of them really made like huge plays each game. I feel like if it wasn't like a getting a pass deflection, obviously they didn't intercept the ball. They were giving up a lot of space to receivers. And a lot of, obviously catches. And I'd love to like actually break down and look at maybe some of the stats of like what was the, yardage given up or touchdowns given up or things like that. I don't know. Do I think that they can be okay moving forward if we have like a Micah and like some consistent pressure? Yeah, I think like they showed it those first few weeks, but again, they just like make you nervous. They're that group that they're going to lose you a game. Like they're
I see that.
100% gonna lose you a game, and not more than times they're going to lose you a game compared to winning a game. But um, yeah, I don't know. I give them both a C minus, but like in that C minus, if C minus is like what a 70, 75 to a 70, I would probably put like Keyshawn at like a 72 and Valentine at like a 71, like if I'm grading that test. So pretty close,
Yeah.
but and that's kind of what I had them both at.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, then that
One
goes to go ahead.
one other thing. I just want to mention, like, overall as a DB group. I mean, really a defense as a whole, if we're really talking about it, going back to training camp, listening to Jeff Halfley talk about Derek Ainsley, I think, was the DB coach.
Mhm.
He's like, "Don't call him Derek Ainsley, don't call him Coach Ainsley, call him Ball King, Ball King, Ball King," because they put all this emphasis on creating fumbles and punching the ball out, right? And
Yep.
all we heard through the first week or 2 of training camp was how great the defense is doing at punching out the ball in the offense, and we never saw any of that in the regular season at all. We didn't I mean, after the first, like, 2 weeks, I mean, you could see they were playing with their hair on fire a little bit, but after those first 2 weeks, you didn't even see them, like, rally to the ball, much less, like, make, like, a conscious effort to, like, rip and punch at the ball on a consistent basis, like, that messaging we heard all training camp, like, that was not there at all in regular season, and I was so disappointed by that, like,
Yeah.
and, I mean, that goes back to not just their coverage skills, but, like, them as, like, physical tacklers in space, like, that is just not their strength at all.
Yeah.
That's something that Gannon or whoever their position coach, like, really needs to emphasize this year, or get new players that will do it,
Yeah.
because Hobbs would have been willing to do that, but, he couldn't stay on the field.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, if there's a year for a big improvement in terms of that, you would think that Dabbich and Gannon, who basically both have big backgrounds in defensive backs, and Riley mentioned of less blown coverage and like tackling and things like that. But yeah, the turnover, like just look at like the Bears. Like if you look
mhm,
talent wise on paper, the Bears and the Packers, there's not a huge difference. Like, you could even make the argument that the Packers, like, overall as defensive backs, if you include, like, the safeties, they're more talented. But just, like, look what turnovers does, like, just from the
yeah,
perception of your defense of like that the Bears defense, like, that won them how many games or turned the tides in, like, how many games. But I'd be interested too of like, you mentioned, like, the fire at the beginning of the season, like, how much of that is Micah? Like, having a person of Micah Parsons, like, obviously just starting out in Green Bay too, and just
mhm,
all of the hype, all of the home games to start the season. It was probably a lot of, like, the situation they were in of starting
yeah,
the season with Micah being at home, because it did. It looked like a completely different defense, a completely different, like, secondary and corners, like, it got us excited, like, "Oh, shit," like, if our corners can do that, and, like, literally, they were just sitting at 5 yards, and that was all they had to do and just jump
right,
stuff. Of course, that wasn't sustainable over the course of the season, but I'm sure that had something to do with it. It's just now,
yeah,
how can we keep
probably,
that? How can we keep that for all 17 games, 18 weeks? I know that's tough to do because you're going to have weeks here and there,
mhm,
but there was such a big drop off of just, let's say, like you mentioned, like effort and just things like that. Yeah, turnovers certainly hides a lot of, flaws, I think, to a
yeah,
defense, especially secondary, and fortunately, the Packers just weren't able to do that, this season, so, all right, well, let's go to 3rd down real quick. As a group, I don't know if you wanna do it differently, like corners and safeties, and then an overall or just 1 overall, but how would you grade this group overall, defensive
okay.
back-wise?
I'll grade them separately and then as a group. Corners, I will give them a
Are you including Bullard as a corner or safety in
I am
this?
I
Okay.
am including Bullard as a corner, as a nickel. So he's gonna help this grade a
Raise
little
the
bit.
grade, yeah.
I will give them a C plus. Bullard's elevating that a little bit. He's doing a lot of heavy lifting for Valentine there. Safeties, I'll give them a B plus. So overall, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to overlook the corners.
Yeah.
They're probably like a C. Overall, probably like a low B minus C plus range. Like, they were good enough to play winning football for a lot of the season, but, like, ultimately, they weren't, like, game-changing players either.
Yeah. Yeah, if I had to include Bullard, I guess, in the corner room, I had him down as an A
Grade it how you want.
minus. Which I will because I think he probably plays corner, like, that's probably nickel, in the slot, that's more corner than safety. I had an A minus from, so let's not forget A minus and C minus. So that is a real big jump. Like what? That would be B right in the middle, I believe, right? Yeah, B right in the middle. So I would guess my corners would be a B. And then yeah, safety is easy. B plus. I gave both Williams and X. So if we're at like a B and a B plus, so what, 89, 85, we'll go right in the middle at 87. So
Wow,
we'll
you
stick
are
right to we'll still
you are
right to a B.
generous.
We'll go right to a B. I think B's pretty fair because I think like the corners, those two just brings it down a little bit more from a B plus to a B minor, from a B plus to a B. So I'll do B overall.
Okay.
And it's just crazy to think like if they did get those turnovers, if X would have completed some of those,
Yeah,
and even Keyshawn, like some of those pass breakups were interceptions, like would we be grading them differently? Probably, but they didn't.
probably. Yeah.
So I have to be a little hard on them. So okay, well, that's the first of the defensive side. We'll do some linebackers, some defensive line here in the next couple of weeks. But what a start for this Packers defense, both in the B range, I think, overall for both of us. So, all right, well, let's go to the final drive. And it's a little different final drive this week. We don't really have like a hot topic, but we just kind of want to say kind of thanks, and we're excited to see how these next couple of weeks go with the bracket challenge that we did on ESPN, the Dairyland Drive. Some listeners, some friends of listeners joined the bracket. We were in double digits. We mentioned before a lot of consistency in who was picked. Arizona, Duke, Michigan were the popular ones. We had Florida in there, shocker, Riley, which you heard in last week's episode. They're out, and then also had Justin from Mike's neck of the woods, a little cross area, friend of the show, of Lucas Leyshock's podcast. He picked Gonzaga, which was interesting. I'm gonna guess he maybe doesn't watch a ton of college basketball, or he was just having fun with it. But yeah, Gonzaga ousted as well in the second round. So 15 bracket, I guess at least 15 winners, our chance of winners still remain. As of now, Mike, it was a tough start for you, but you're not in
Oh,
last. But you're not in last, like you mentioned. You've climbed a little bit out of the bottom of the standings.
I think the first day, so it has like your percentage. Is this a percentage of correct picks?
Yes.
So you've picked 94.5% of the games correctly. Is that right?
I wonder if you click it if it tells you exactly.
I don't know. But my percentage was like 9.2 after the first day. It was a tough start for your boy. But I have climbed myself out of the depths of the standings. 13th out of 17 now. So still have an outside shot with Arizona. I'm going to really need some help here. But yeah, that's what happens. So we just talked about like March Madness is such a crapshoot
Yeah.
all the time, especially to the casual fan like me.
So yeah, I don't know if is that like percentage or is that like percentile. So am I like in the 94 or is that good?
Maybe.
Or maybe is it flip flop? Do you want to be like in the high percentile or the low percentile? Maybe that
Oh, you want
maybe
to be? I mean, if you're at 94.5%, like you're doing really good.
okay. So I'm guessing that's what it is because I'm like trying to think about. I like kind of struggled in the first round. I was sitting down in like I think tied in 15th place after like the first day or maybe even the first 2 days. Like
Okay.
I killed it in the Sweet 16. I think I was telling you before the show. I picked 14 of the 16 teams in the Sweet 16. So I think
Yeah.
I had 280 points in the round of 32. Everyone else, the next highest was 240. Diesel and your brother Matt, who we're all tied in first right now. So I had a huge turnaround in the round of 32 to kind of get back to the top there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Little different than the NFL pick'em that I struggled mightily with this past season in the playoffs. So maybe this is my leveling out of the sports gods. But we'll see. I'll talk about this, and then my bracket will just completely fall apart here the next couple of days. But we'll see. The big thing is, and I don't know if you do, I still have my final four teams. And I still have 7 of my 8 Elite Eight teams. Florida was the only one that got ousted of my Elite Eight. So Love that percentage. If you can get through the first weekend and have all your Final Four teams, that's usually a good sign. Usually you're going to be in like good shape and get the big points later on. But yeah, it's shaping up to be a good one. Like we still have some close people. I mentioned me, Diesel, and Matt are all tied with 500 points. And then the right below them is Travis Hamilton. He's at 480. And then we have a three-way tie for fifth. Randy Layshak, Noah Robson, who is the wife of one of our favorite listeners, Sam Soda, which he's towards the bottom. So a little bragging rights in that household. And then Zebo is also tied with fifth there for 470. And the guy we give a shout out to the wife, Hannah. She's right in the mix there still too, 450. She's tied with looks like Mama Chris and Sam Soda as well. So I guess Sam's not too far down in the standing, so he's still in striking distance as well. But at the bottom right now, I believe that is Noah Wandersea. It has to be friend of the show as well from the old Princeton stopping grounds. He
Which
is
one?
towards the bottom. Noah Wandersea. And then Max Soda, another listener of the show, he is towards the bottom there as well. But doesn't really matter.
The bottom one is Micah. He's a
Oh, never mind.
old coworker buddy of mine.
Well, there you go. Okay. Well, he is at the bottom of the standings right now, so I have to give him a little tough, hard time
Yeah.
there. But okay. Well, the funny thing is, it might not matter because he's on the bottom now. Duke could win, and that will catapult him above everyone else that chose Michigan and Arizona. Yes, ultimately, does this kind of separate you for the first like few rounds? Yeah, but really it comes down to if you pick the winner because that gives you the most points at the end and kind of obviously makes the difference. But basically, everyone, thanks for playing. We're going to keep you updated here these next couple episodes. I don't know, maybe we'll do something for the winner. Maybe I'll just win and we don't have to do anything for the winner, but I don't know, maybe a guest appearance on the podcast or something like that if they're interested, if they win. But first we'll have to see who wins if we want you on the podcast even. Just kidding. We would love to have you on the podcast. But yeah, we'll think of something. Maybe a fun little giveaway that's not breaking the bank of any sort and more fun, like I said. Yeah, that is the final drive, the Dairyland drive bracket. Follow along here these next couple rounds, and we will ultimately give a shout out to the winner here in a couple weeks. But that is it. Final thoughts on a level of 1 to 10. Where's the excitement level for opening day, opening weekend for baseball? Do you get excited about that, or are you more the give me freaking September and let's get the postseason here, and I don't really care about the other 162 games,
Oh,
whatever
to
it
me, it's
is.
September. Yep.
The only cool thing is White Sox Brewers are playing the opener here well, I'm still gonna call it Miller Park. I don't care what everyone else calls it. So we're actually going. Me, Logan, and Randy, as of now, are going to the game on Sunday. I'm down in Milwaukee. 110 first pitch. It's supposed to be like in the 40s, sunny. So maybe get a little tailgate going as well.
Oh yeah.
Some brats cooking. So yeah, that'll be the one good thing. And I am a White Sox fan, so they won't be terrible yet. The third game into the season, they might be 0-2, but that's only two games below 500, so I can still cheer for them for now. But I also like the Brewers. I have grown into they're kind of like Mike. Your second team is North Carolina in basketball. The Brewers are kind of my second team in baseball, where I do enjoy watching them just because they are always competitive, even though they're at like the bottom of like payroll in the league. They always find good prospects and get players and get the most out of them.
Dude, their prospect pipeline
Yeah,
is sick.
there's going to be some dudes coming up that they're going to help them, I think, as soon as this year too. So they're going to be right in the mix. There's no reason. I know the Cubs did all the flashy ads and the big names, but let's not forget Brewers had the best record in baseball last year and didn't really use a ton. I know obviously got rid of Peralta, but I still think they got a pretty good staff and pretty good position players in hitting. So I think they're going to be right there in the mix
Yep.
again.
The only thing they're lacking is power.
Yeah.
That's what you need in October.
Yep. Don't we all? To beat the Dodgers, you need something.
That it's just the Dodgers world, and they're all living in it
Ridiculous.
right now.
Pretty much the richest get richer in baseball. That's the
Yep.
that's the one sad thing. But We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. All right.
Uh,
Only other thing, right? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the only other thing was super excited. We got a friendly, U.S. men's soccer this weekend. I think it's their final two games before the World Cup rolls around here in June. So hopefully, you're going to see a squad that's pretty close to what you're going to see in June on home soil. So unfortunately, Ronaldo is hurt, so they when they do play Portugal, they aren't going to see Ronaldo, which would have been cool. But a pretty good test, and I think it's going to be a pretty good measure of where they're at and basically how disappointed, how pissed off are we going to be in June with this team, or are they actually going to give us a little of excitement? So yeah, definitely excited
Keep
to
that
see.
USA momentum rolling, baby. Come on.
What a year it's been. What a year it's been. Maybe this is the crazy year where just something absolutely insane happens with them.
Yeah, I mean, America 250, like, it's just got to be our year, right?
Minus the World Baseball Classic, you losing to
Yeah.
Venezuela, I
Oh, good point.
suppose.
Yeah,
But
good point.
all right,
America's got time.
that's all I have. What you got?
So we talked at the top. I'm going completely sports unrelated here. We're going outside of sports. We talked at the top how you and I and a couple other people we went to a Hardy concert
Mm.
last Thursday.
Yeah.
So I had been aware of Hardy like in the past, right? But I had never like really like given him a lot of attention until you kind of like put me on him the last couple years, and I've really started listening to him a lot more.
Mm.
And I'm really glad you did, and I was really glad that I got to go to that concert because it was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, out of his 20-song set list last Thursday, what was your favorite?
That's a tough one. Which one was my favorite? Probably the one that surprised me the most was MacArthur, just because it's newer and I had no idea he was gonna play it. Because I little like what's the word I'm looking for? I looked at his set list from like previous shows, because I've had it on the running playlist here for like the last like month. So I kind of had an idea what he was gonna play, but MacArthur was not on there whatsoever. So that one surprised me the most and what I probably almost enjoyed, but like I don't know, call it, like, to the book, like, when he came out to Bottomland around the
Yeah,
bonfire
dude.
and kinda set the tone there, like, that was
Yes.
pretty freaking cool, and that might have been, like, my favorite, just because of, like, the aesthetic and the whatever, the performance that was there too of, like, you just
Yeah.
felt like you were in the backyard of your own, like, bonfire, like, listening to him. That's why I love Hardy because he has so many
Yeah.
songs like that.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, it was either Bottom Lane or closing out the first part of the set list with Sold Out before coming out for his encore.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm so glad I got to see him. I would
Yep.
10 out of 10 go back and watch him again if I had the chance
Yep.
whenever that comes around.
Hopefully, he's back in
Or
Green Bay again. I think he
at a
loves
different
Green Bay.
venue this time,
Maybe he
a
could
bigger
be.
venue.
He could be. Yeah, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, how many artists that are like country music artists can come out with like a country hard rock album and then a country album that they're both just like awesome.
Mhm.
And it's just crazy of like everyone wants to work with him. Everyone wants to like collab with him. Like all the like the songs that he's done with big named artists of like what the heck he's got like how many of those three I don't even know what it is. I think it's two,
What do you
no three,
talk
it
about
might
the
be
Hicks
three.
tapes?
Yeah, Hicks tapes, is there three
It
now?
is
Yeah, I
two
think
or
there's
three.
three. Yeah, two or three. A lot of big name people want to work with him. He's just so versatile and damn, he is
Yeah,
fun to listen to with a beer or bourbon at a bonfire like in the spring or summer. Just put him on repeat or
it.
mix him up.
I know we're really getting like way off topic here, like way out sports related. But if you like look at the guy, you just think like this is not your typical like country singer. Like this guy probably sounds like an idiot when he talks. Like he just looks like a doofus with his glasses and his tats all over and whatnot. But I've listened to a couple like long interviews that he's done. He's actually like very well spoken and thoughtful in the way he talks. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
So what you get when you see him is not even close to what you think.
Yeah.
He is very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for all you country and or rock fans out there, if you aren't aware of Hardy, give him a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very wholesome and like he is who he is for sure. And a great songwriter. Like let's not forget as long as all the good songs he has, he's written a lot of them himself too. So yeah, great concert. Hope he comes back in some capacity. Whatever venue it is, count me in for Hardy concerts for the foreseeable future. But
Yeah.
all right, let's get out of here. What a fun one. March Madness continues. Packers, we're chugging along here in the off season until we get to the drafts and anything else exciting happens. Once again, everyone, thanks for listening to the Dairyland Drive podcast. Collin and Mike. We'll see. We'll see if Riley gets the internet fixed by this time next week. But yeah, keep giving us those 5-star reviews. Keep sharing us with your friends and family on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We enjoy doing this. We'll keep doing it as long as you keep listening. As always, thanks for listening. We will see you in next week's episode.
Go Pack Go. And Colin, what is Illinois?
ILLINO.